So, all right. So, Shell, let me tell you where I first seen Shell at. I saw her on She Did That on Netflix.
Oh,
And I was like, I'm gonna reach out. I was like,
That's
'cause it's so dope. Oh my God, the
she been
females.
talking about that ever
Yes,
since. You gotta
yes,
watch. You gotta watch.
yes. Because it was so inspiring, and I
Yes.
said, you know what? There's a group of women who came up with different ideas, and they just acted on their dreams, their belief, and their ideas, went for it, and became successful. And I know that you're one of them, and you were one of the women who were on the show. And I'm just like, oh my God, if we all took that energy or just had the courage to step up and act on our beliefs or our
Yeah,
ideas,
that's the big thing right there.
we could be in such better situations than what we are now. I mean, with or without support, sometimes it just, step out on faith. So, okay, so Shell, let's start. So, where are you from?
I'm a original native New Yorker. I'm from the Bronx, a Bronx girl.
Really?
I
Okay.
know, I'm a Bronx girl. And then I lived in California for a while. We moved out west. Part of the family moved out. Um, Followed an uncle who got a job in the Bay Area. We moved out when I was a teenager, and then moved back to New York 20 something years ago. And came back to my
Okay.
roots, back home. This is where
Okay.
home is. Yeah, it was too fast for California. Too like
I'm
Yeah.
like,
they're very
compared to New
chill.
York.
Oh yeah, they're very chill. I love California, but everyone's always like, you're just that aggressive to be out here. And when I came back to New York, I was like, my people,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
let's
my
get the hustle on.
zone. Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to say because
My
California,
zone.
West Coast is way laid back.
They were
Like
chill.
Yeah.
They were
They got
chill.
like this
they
vibe
high
type of
all day. Like they
situation. Yeah.
high.
They just chill. Just everything is
I
chilled, and
all
I'm
day.
I'm fast. Let's move it. Let's move it. Let's move it.
Yeah,
Let's
you
go.
got that New York spirit in you.
Yeah, I got some things
That
to do.
would
Let's
bother me.
go. What bothered you? What bothered you?
If I went out somewhere and I'm like, let's go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And then it's like they high and I'm like,
Yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be in New York.
I mean, this is before the days that it was the Silicon Valley. This was
Yeah.
oh,
Bay
okay.
Area, right? This was before we had Google, before we had it. I mean, it's a different world now. When I go back to visit my aunts who still live there, it's unrecognizable.
Okay.
Mm.
It's the whole area is crazy. But so they have a little more hustle now, but they did not have it when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more,
Yeah.
a little more hustle.
So now, okay, so now, Shell, you have properties, correct? In Brooklyn?
Yeah, that's sort of it. We're basically a boutique film shoot studio.
Okay.
So I run
Okay.
that with my partner here in Brooklyn. We're actually moving right now. You've caught us a week out. We started moving stuff yesterday. Was part one of the move. So in the building, we have this sort of big loft building in Clinton Hill, Brooklyn, and it's mixed use. And we live in one of the lofts, and then the other lofts we use for film shoots, photo
Hmm.
shoots. Pre-pandemic, we did a couple like offsite retreats and corporate gatherings, things like that.
Hmm.
And now we are moving in two different directions. So new home for the business, new home for us. So
Got
we
it.
are we're in it now. We're in the grind. We're about a week out from our personal move. We moved part of the business yesterday. We moved the second part after our last film shoot on the 13th with Amazon. So
Okay. So
we're just
now,
Making moves.
what made you decide I'm going to invest not only in a home for myself, but also in a location for people to shoot or do films or what have you? What got you to that point where you said, you know what, I think this is what I want to do?
I get asked that so often. I don't think that it was that. I don't think it was that sort of set. It sort of happened. I always joke like I stumbled into it. And as
Mm,
you were saying earlier, like we need to make more choices. Sometimes I feel like for women, particularly for women of color, that the option is really there is no other option. You have to figure out your hustle. You start a business because you are not getting anywhere in the traditional sort of corporate environment. I did the corporate jobs. I worked in corporate real estate, and there was only so many places I could go. There were these constant sort of like, oh, don't you want to, be the secretary? I'm not. I'm managing,
Don't
20
start.
properties for you. Why are
yeah.
you assuming I'm the secretary? Why do you assume I'm
Exactly.
someone's assistant all the time? Why do you assume I'm not capable of XYZ? And so I learned a lot. It gave me a tough skin. But then once I wanted to do other things, once I wanted to wear multiple hats and go in different directions, there just wasn't an option. And so I feel like things sort of just moved along on my own, almost by accident, just because I was like, I'm going to do my own thing. You know, start off a little side hustle. I took a space while I was an agent. I found this amazing building. It was right in that 2008 where everyone was sort of afraid to move, afraid to spend money.
Yeah.
It was sitting empty for 6 months. Got to know the owner, was the owner of this building. At the time, he was in his 70s. Now he's in late 80s, and nothing was moving. And I was like, huh. And I would show people the space, and they didn't want to take it because it was so big in New York. Like the one space that we had, the one we started with, was 5,500 square feet. And people were like, can't live in this. I don't have enough furniture. I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
And I sort of was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it either, but I'm gonna take it because these never come up. And I just grabbed it, did a handshake deal, and pulled the trigger. I told myself if I made number one in my company, that was the sign I would take it. I made number one in my company, took my little bonus, and was like, okay, let's do this. And sort of moved it. And I was like, now what do I do with it?
Yeah.
What do I do? And I thought, oh, I'll get roommates. Oh, I'll get, just kind of figuring. And it was one of those things where I was at this age where people were like, oh, no, we're too old for roommates. So no one wanted to move in. No one had seen it yet. When I had my first open house, party, people were mad. You didn't tell us it was like this. We thought you were in 4-bedroom.
Yeah.
Switched up. Like, no. So, it was just one of those things that just happened. I actually started off as an Airbnb host. I had all these bedrooms.
Wow.
Airbnb had just launched. A friend of mine called me up and said, there's this new company. People can come and stay with you. She's like, it's right up your alley. Your door is always open. Everyone's meeting at your house anyway for brunch. She's like, these are your people. I was like, okay, let me just look at it. And I put one of the rooms up. It booked. People came in from Norway. Cool. Booked the other room. And this was at the point where before you could even see people's pictures, where there was still trust.
Yeah.
It was brand new. It was all
that was a while ago.
That's a dirty word now.
Right. Americans weren't even on the site. It was all Europeans and some Aussies. And show up at your door and would just stay. We didn't have locks on the doors. It was just the honor system.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had and it was great and it was wonderful. And it sort of snowballed. And then someone approached me and said, this is wonderful. It came to one of my brunches and said, could you do this for my birthday? And I was like, do what? And she's like, I want to have my party the way you do the brunches. Like, you want me to leave my house and you can have a party? So no, I want you to do what you do. I want you to cook it and serve it. And I was like, oh.
Wow.
So I tried decorate it, did it. They loved it. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. So I'd do a little bit of that for some friends. It sort of grew and word got out. And then someone came to one of the brunches and worked in the film industry and said, this is an amazing space for film shoots. Could I get word out? And I was like, sure. And we got a film shoot. It was like a David Wayne movie. Random. And here comes, what's his name? The guy who plays the ant. Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd.
Yes,
Paul Rudd?
yes.
Is that his name?
Rudd.
Yeah. Paul Rudd. He comes. It's Amy Poehler. It's the guy from Law and Order. It's like legit. I was like, ah. And they're here. And I was like, real money. And I was in love. It was exciting. It was interesting. I found the whole storytelling process interesting. And part of the reason why they picked is because they love the design, which I was always into. I was always into interior design. I did it for my real estate projects. I was always styling that's how I moved houses. And that's how they picked the house. They're like, we want it. I said, how do you want it? We want all the props. We want everything. Everything.
Wow.
I was like, okay. And that's really what it grew from. It was just sort of a design eye and space. And I started marketing it and I got a little more and I got a little more. And as business grew, I took on another space. And then a year went by, I took on another space. And then 5 years, I'm running the whole building. And we've got, a prop room. I'm styling you just little bits at a time. And, fortunately, I had support. Friends help me out. It was, we kind of put everyone in the building became a film building. We just basically, because of the noise of film, it's like they come in at 6 a.m. and they're dropping equipment above your head. So below us, we put production companies and they'd be down there editing equipment, editing their film stuff and doing podcasts. And that's it. It just sort of grew little by little, but it felt like there wasn't anything else for me out there.
Right.
That I was going to be able to have my own control of my life and my destiny, my time. I mean, at one point it was rolling where I could spend half my time in South Africa and half my time here because we had a little team and I couldn't do that with a job.
No.
You can't
Right,
do
yeah.
that, right? You can't do that when you're not in control of things. And so the trade-off is you do work more, right? You work 12-hour days. You are answering the phones and letting people in and doing your own billing and setting this, that. But then but I have control of it, and I wouldn't trade that.
Mhm.
I'm a workhorse anyway, so like I'll work.
Yes.
But that's it. That's it. I really
That's
think it's just out of necessity that we do this stuff.
So really, it found you.
amazing.
It found me.
Yeah.
It found me because I've never been someone who did well in a 9-to-5 job and played by the rules. I'm highly inappropriate most
Speaking of
of the
me,
Sound
like,
like
time.
him.
Yeah,
you're speaking of
I
me.
mean, HR would have kicked me out every time. All my employees, everyone who works with me, says, "Man, you could never make it in corporate." I was like, "What does that mean?" Like, you would be in the HR office every day. I was like, "Okay, just do my own thing."
Sound like the story of your life, Kim.
That's it. You have
Yeah.
to do your own path. You have to kind of, my favorite quote is that Maya Angelou quote, where it's like, I looked up the road I was going and back the way I come. And since I wasn't satisfied, I stepped off the road and cut myself a new path.
Mhm.
That, I remember the first time I read that, I went, oh, I think I was a teenager. I was like, that's it. That's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fit.
See, Liga. So okay, so look, because I'm so excited now. I'm like,
You know,
I'm saying.
as we, this is something she really needed to hear.
Mm.